And what I thought was all of my life story, turns out it was only just one page. It's a new beginning, I've got so much left to say. Alright, hey guys, it's me, Brian, and today I'm bringing in another review. Um, this time it's going to be of Image Comics HEATHENTOWN. This is part of the Shadowline imprint. I hope y'all can see that. I've loved their stuff so far. And this book's no different. This book was so amazing. It's a little gem, hidden away. Um, this book is by Karina Sarabecco and Gabriel Hardman. Karina wrote it and Gabriel did the art. There. And book starts off. There's this. A cop gets a call to a graveyard with reports of vandalism. Pulls up to the graveyard and sees a young girl, and by young I mean mid-20s, early 30s, and that's just a guess. And she's knee deep in a freshly dug grave with a shovel. So sorry about that, I just woke up. And she gets taken to the local jail, which is based in Florida, which is one of the reasons why I picked the book up. And she gets taken to the jail, and the public defender comes, and he's like, please just give me something. Why were you in the graveyard? And she tells him that her name is Anna Romano. She was a scientist that was working over there in Chad, Africa. Chad, something like that. And let me get a swallow of coffee first. And sorry about that. Throat was dry. And her name's Anna Romano, and she goes to tell them that she was a scientist in Chad, Africa, doing a study on the farming effects on nomadic families in that area. And while she was over there, she met a friend. Her name was Kit Durrell. And during that time, Chad, however you say it, was a very violent place. It was unstable. There was fighting every day. And a war happened to break out one day. And Kit ended up getting killed. Well, Anna looked back and seen her get killed, and she had to end up bringing the body back to the U.S. and basically having to meet the family and deliver the body all at the same time to Florida, which is where Kit was from, which is how she ended up there. And uh, it cuts to the funeral. Well, let me back up. I'm getting ahead of myself. The Yeah, that's right. She went to the funeral, and after the funeral, nobody was wanting to talk to her. So she tries to leave, but the storm that hit the day before, which happens a lot in Florida, flooded the exit road, so there's no bus out of town. So she had to get a cheap hotel that night, and um, she went to the local bar and had a couple drinks left. Was walking outside, and this old guy comes up to her and says, "There's no fish in the cold water, and there's no water for the cold fish." Whatever that means. And it scares her because the guy's like all toothless and raggedy looking. And she takes off running, don't know where she's running to, but somehow ends up back at the graveyard. Well, she stops to rest and happens to look over and see Kit, who they just buried yesterday, standing above her grave. Um, and she takes and freaks out and like, "Hey Kit," and runs over there to her, and she don't react to her, and she just follows her, and she goes out of the graveyard into the swamp behind the graveyard, and she loses her. She disappears. She ends up tripping over a log and breaking her glasses. And she ends up um, getting chased by a pack of wild hogs that was living in the forest behind the graveyard. And so she gets chased back out and comes across this old uh, turpentine manufacturing building, and she goes in there and she sees all kind of gators and animals hanging from chains, and she's like, "Oh my God, what did I just get myself into?" And when she is grabbed from behind by a man, and she struggles with him and he tries to knock her out, but when he realizes that she's a girl, he stops and he says, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it." And he said, "You must be from the heathen town up the road." And he noticed that she has a little elephant hair bracelet that Kit had given her in Africa. And he said, "Where'd you get that?" And she's like, "It was a gift from a friend." And he said, "That ain't no gift, And so she takes and, scared of him, runs out of the building and comes across, you know, she's back in town, and she finds a tool shed behind somebody's house, steals the shovel, and she goes back to the graveyard to dig up the body to see if Kit's really dead or not. But to find out what was in the casket, you're going to have to buy the book, because that's as far as I'm going. As far as the artwork goes, I love the art. It's a black and white book, but I don't know how to describe it. The shading is done with dots. I don't know if y'all were ever taught that in art class. Which, judging by my art on Twitter, I didn't pay much attention either. But there's a technique they use where they draw with dots, and I can't remember the name of it. But that's how this book is drawn, or actually I should say shaded. It's like an older comic from like the 60s, I guess. I hope that time period's right. Trying to find a good explanation of it in here. Alright. Can y'all see that? That's where she gets the shovel. Maybe you can see the dots. But it's black and white, and there's a lot of heavy blacks. And let's see if I can get her. There's Anna right there. So that's what Anna looks like. But that is as far as I'm going. I hope that gave y'all enough to want to pick this up. I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all that it probably won't make sense until the very last couple pages. There's a little clue in the last couple pages that makes everything come full circle. I really didn't like it up to that point, but once I found that little connecting piece, that little piece of the puzzle that made it all fit together, I loved it. That just blew my mind. So if you pick this up from, whether it's from the comic book shop, Overstock Trades, or if it's where I go to now, cheapgraphicnovels.com, just please read it all the way through. The clue, it won't jump out at you, but if you catch on to it, you'll get it. But please just read it all the way through. I can't stress enough how awesome this book is. I loved it. It's just amazing book. But with that, guys, this is my review for Heathentown. I will talk to y'all later. Love y'all. God bless.